In the South China Sea, a quiet revolution is taking place. The Philippines has found a way to challenge China's growing aggression, not with bigger ships or stronger weapons, but with the power of visibility. Through transparency, Manila is exposing Beijing's tactics to the entire world, and it's reshaping the balance of power in Asia's most contested waters. Welcome to GeoFrontline, where global strategy, military power, and shifting alliances meet clarity. Stay with me as we break down how the Philippines is using transparency as a strategic weapon and why this approach is forcing China into a corner. For decades, Beijing relied on the shadows. Its Coast Guard and maritime militia operated aggressively, blocking Filipino fishermen, cutting supply lines, and intimidating patrols. But these incidents often went unreported, dismissed as maritime disputes with little global attention. That silence gave China the advantage. Not anymore. The Philippines has flipped the script. Today, every hostile encounter is documented, filmed, and released. Coast Guard ships carry cameras and drones. Journalists are invited aboard, and crews are instructed to record everything. Instead of letting Beijing deny or downplay incidents, Manila ensures the world sees them. This transparency has changed the dynamic. When Chinese vessels recently blasted a Philippine supply boat with water cannons near 2nd Thomas Shoal, the footage went viral within hours. Global outrage followed. The United States, Japan, and the European Union condemned Beijing's actions, while support for Manila surged. What once would have been a quiet, one-sided clash turned into a diplomatic victory for the Philippines. By turning China's so-called gray zone tactics into visible acts of aggression, Manila has raised the political costs for Beijing. Every image of an unarmed Filipino crew under attack undermines China's narrative of being a responsible rising power. Instead, it confirms to the world that Beijing is a regional bully. This strategy also strengthens alliances. With proof on the table, Washington and its partners can respond with greater certainty. The U.S. Navy now conducts joint patrols with the Philippine Coast Guard. Japan has stepped up support, pledging new ships and surveillance equipment. Even European states are citing Manila's evidence as justification to condemn Beijing's behavior. The partnership with Washington is especially crucial. Under the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, the U.S. is obligated to defend the Philippines if its armed forces come under attack. Public footage of Chinese aggression makes that treaty more credible, pushing Washington to show visible support. Recently, American surveillance aircraft confirmed incidents caught by Manila, adding credibility and amplifying the evidence. China, meanwhile, has been left on the defensive. Beijing dismisses Manila's actions as provocations, accusing the Philippines of working with foreign powers to undermine stability. But those arguments collapse when the evidence is undeniable. Videos of lasers blinding Filipino sailors or ramming tactics at sea don't require interpretation. They speak for themselves. Of course, transparency carries risks. Every confrontation broadcast globally increases pressure on Manila and Washington to respond. If Filipino sailors are seriously injured on camera, calls for immediate retaliation will grow louder. Transparency raises accountability, but it also narrows room for diplomacy. Yet Manila believes the benefits outweigh the risks. Its strategy has turned a small nation into a global voice. By exposing incidents, the Philippines has built a stronger case for modernization, alliances, and international support. It has shifted the battlefield from silent waters to the court of global opinion. What makes this approach powerful is its ripple effect. Other Southeast Asian nations are watching closely. Vietnam has already considered adopting similar tactics, documenting Chinese intrusions in its waters. If more states follow Manila's lead, Beijing could find itself facing not one critic, but a coalition of nations armed with undeniable proof. Looking ahead, the stakes are clear. Imagine a crisis where a Chinese vessel rams a Philippine patrol boat and the footage spreads worldwide in real time. Instead of deterring Manila, Such actions would accelerate U.S. involvement, trigger Allied support, and further damage Beijing's image. The very tactics meant to intimidate could backfire, isolating China even more. Beijing will no doubt adapt, possibly releasing its own edited footage or expanding propaganda efforts. But here lies the difference. Open societies like the Philippines gain credibility by sharing raw evidence. Authoritarian states like China lose credibility with censorship and selective releases. Transparency is not just a strategy, it's a battle of legitimacy, one Beijing struggles to win. At its core, this story reflects the deeper divide in the Indo-Pacific: coercion versus openness, intimidation versus the rule of law. The Philippines, with U.S. backing, is proving that even a smaller nation can stand tall by shining a light on the truth. Cameras can't sink ships, but they can alter the cost of aggression. And in geopolitics, cost often decides action. The question now is whether transparency alone can prevent escalation. Will exposure deter Beijing, or will it push China to escalate further? What's certain is that Manila has forced the world to pay attention. The South China Sea is no longer a shadow conflict. It is unfolding before the global audience. And that audience is shaping how nations respond. Thanks for watching GeoFrontline. Do you think Manila's transparency strategy will be enough to stop China's aggression? Or will it take stronger military action from allies to secure the South China Sea? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And join us again as we track the flashpoints shaping tomorrow's world.